On the controversy surrounding New York City Democratic mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani continues to grow. Now his professor father is in the spotlight for comments he made saying Adolf Hitler was inspired by Abraham Lincoln.
With the Civil War, Abraham Lincoln generalized the solution of reservations. They herded American Indians into separate territories. For the Nazis, this was the inspiration. Hitler realized two things. One, that genocide was doable. Second thing Hitler realized is that you don't have to have a common citizenship. You can differentiate between people. The Nuremberg laws were patterned after American laws.
Well, those remarks were surfacing from a 2022 panel discussion hosted by the Asia Society, and it has some wondering, is this the type of thinking that we want associated with a candidate for mayor? Good question. All right, joining us now is former Republican Congressman from New York, Michael Grimm. Michael, good to see you. So you hear these comments from Mahmoud Mamdani, an Ivy League professor, and you think, what are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, good afternoon, Tracy. It's good to be back on with you, but I'm not surprised at all. This should not really be shocking based on the rhetoric of his son and the fact that he's an Ivy League professor, right? So we already know these Ivy Leagues, this is what they propagate. They hate America. It's that simple. These are individuals that hate everything about our country. And it begs the question I keep asking, then why are you here? Why are you in our country if we're so racist and so terrible, if we're responsible for genocide and so on, then why are you here? But I think I figured out the answer, because they want to fundamentally change the United States so that we follow in their footsteps and their way. I believe they want to change us so that we're more like the 14th century Middle East, like Iran is being run right now. I think that's what they actually want. But if this guy becomes mayor, then New York City's done. It's just that simple.
Yeah, as a lot of people are saying. And now, speaking of saying, I mean, that's not all that his father had to say during that panel discussion. He also talked about Black Lives Matter. Let's listen to this.
The American Indians, by being put in separate states, were perpetually fragmented, isolated. Up to today, the African Americans, horribly oppressed, but had the possibility of building alliances with other oppressed peoples. So we have a history of the same hundreds of years which have brought us to the point where we are with Black Lives Matter, which are at the forefront of progressive struggles in the US, while the American Indians remain isolated and fragmented.
All right, Michael, your comments to this one, and do you think his comments will hurt his son's campaign in the long run?
Again, this is the typical rhetoric of the left. Should not be surprising. It hasn't changed, by the way, since the 1960s. This is the same song they've been singing again. You know, the United States are the oppressors, but yet we've liberated. I can speak for myself personally on the battleground in Kuwait, liberating the Kuwaiti people. We are the only country in the world that I know that sends their young men and women, their sons and their daughters off to foreign lands, not to conquer, not to take over, but to liberate. So look, they're anti-American. They hate this country. They hate this city. All they want to do is fundamentally change it. Of course, this will hurt, hopefully, his son. From what I'm hearing on the ground, from the local electeds and so on, and the power brokers of New York City, I think you're seeing a change. This midterm election, if you want to call it, or primary election, really woke people up. They realize that they need to pay attention. They need to get out and vote. So I think you're going to see a lot of people getting behind who seems to be the front runner in the behind the scenes circles, which is Mayor Eric Adams. So we'll see if the money, the Jewish support, and the rest of the different factions, not only Republicans and soft Democrats, but I think a lot of people are going to be going in the way of Eric Adams, because only the far radical left and the very young kids that have been indoctrinated in these Ivy League schools.